y'all, it's Chat with Kat. This is going to be part 5, covering Bono's epic poem for the movie Epic. Now, he actually wrote this in 1995 because he's a fan of Elvis. But everything he says in the poem is not particularly complimentary. I think it's not his personal opinion, but he's trying to take everything that the public has put on Elvis, all the different opinions, perceptions, judgments, and he's tried to list them all to show how widespread an impact Elvis made. And I mean, here we are almost 50 years later, and everybody's still arguing about Elvis. That says something about the man and the impact that he left, the imprint that he left on our society, our culture, and the world. So this is number 5, and it picks up with Elvis the charismatic, Elvis the ecstatic. And in this section of the poem, he seems to be layering character snapshots of Elvis through the different phases of his life. So the first line is Elvis the charismatic, Elvis the ecstatic. Everybody talks about Elvis's charisma. He could command a room just by walking into it. I've heard so many people interview who were there and say, you just felt the energy change. You didn't even have to see Elvis come into the room. You just felt the energy change. Now, whether that was because everybody who did see him come in shut up talking to look at him and the energy changed, or did he change the energy just by his presence, which by all accounts, that's the way it was. Whitney Houston said when she was a little girl and she met him and he came in, she said, you don't talk to Elvis, you just look at Elvis. I can't even imagine. But you know, he commanded the audiences from the stage. He had them in his hand. He commanded his band and his backup singers. He had that X factor, that wow factor, that charisma. The movie that's out, Epic, he doesn't even have to be doing anything, and you just watch him, you know. And sometimes when I was watching it, I had to force myself to look at the other people in the, what are they doing, you know. Boy, Ronnie Tutt, take a look at that drummer. he deserved a trophy for keeping up. But Elvis commands our attention, so he's very charismatic. The ecstatic, ecstasy, I think it hints at the almost religious energy that Elvis creates, not only in person, but from the stage. You guys have all seen that picture. It showcases this ecstasy perfectly, and I'll put the picture here of this young girl back in the 50s having a religious experience. She looks like she's in ecstasy. So his rock concerts often felt like revivals, you know. People, I mean, they were into it. He had such a personal connection with each person. They felt like he was singing to them. It reminds me of that song, Killing Me Softly with His Song. I heard a DJ one time say that song was about Elvis, and it makes sense. But I've looked it up, and I can't find that anywhere. So I don't know where that DJ got it. But if you think about it, strumming my life with his fingers, killing me softly with his song, telling my life, telling my story. I forgot now the exact words, but you know, people thought, you just felt he connected with you personally. And I think that's why we're so passionate about him today. Everybody still has that personal connection. 50 years later, y'all, there will never be another Elvis. Okay, I think Bono is framing Elvis as a leader, charismatic leader, and a spiritual experience. Even the movie, people are going and saying they're crying within the first 10 minutes of it. Now, it took me a little longer than that. I don't think I ever went into a full-blown cry, but I did get kind of choked up a couple of places. Okay, the next line Elvis the plastic, Elvis the elastic. Okay, that word plastic. Now, somebody told me in my comments that I shouldn't read too much into this poem. And I beg to differ, because people who write poems and songs choose words purposely with multi-layered meanings. Because a poem generally is a shortened version. Now, this one happens to be long. It is an epic poem. And when I say epic, I mean the length of it. It is getting a little longer, but the sentences and the phrases are very short. And so you have to choose the words that pack the most punch. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, I'm going to put in the description a link to a Gene Simmons of Kiss interview where he talks for probably, I don't know, 10 minutes about, well, maybe not quite that long. It's a full interview, and I don't remember exactly the section, but if you start at the 15-minute mark, he'll talk about why they chose to say I instead of we. And he breaks it down. That seems like two little simple pronouns, you know, what's the big deal? But they chose the word I for a specific reason. And I think it demonstrates that when people write songs and poems, diction and word choice is very important to the overall meaning. So when Bono says Elvis the plastic, Elvis the elastic, plastic, it's moldable, it's formed, shaped by culture, Colonel Parker, Hollywood, plastic. You can also see it as artificial, manufactured, not authentic. So we've already said Elvis incorporated multiplicity. There were many facets of Elvis. And one of them was the Hollywood produced, the Colonel Tom Parker produced version. But Elvis was Elvis. And even people who knew him say the person on stage was the person, you know, that we knew. So there's this Hollywood, you know, what Hollywood creates what they want to create. And Colonel Tom Parker created what he wanted to create. So the word plastic has a couple of different meanings there. Oh, and the Vegas showroom persona. So the Colonel Tom Parker constructed image, the Hollywood version, and the Vegas showroom persona. Now, elastic, Elvis the elastic, stretch. Think about all the different views of Elvis. And he truly is every single one of them. He's the good Southern boy with the good manners. He's the rebel, you know, defying authority. He's the crooner, you know, the ultimate sex symbol. And he fits all of those at the same time. Let me see. When I write, I'm a little more thoughtful than when I'm just speaking. It could refer to Elvis's wide range, the public opinions assigned to him, the rebel, the delinquent, the mama's boy, the good son, the model soldier, Elvis the pelvis, etc. And he was all of those things. Next line, with a spastic dance that might explain the energy of America. A spastic dance, spastic, that might explain the energy of America. Now remember, I think it was in the last video we talked about America created Elvis so America could remake itself, recreate itself. Elvis was a reflection of America, and America is a reflection of Elvis. It's like the yin and yang, you know? So a spastic dance from Elvis that explains the energy of America. So the 1956 TV appearances, the hip shaking, the legs shaking, the nervous electricity, and it mirrors America, fast, restless, explosive for that time period. We were ready to explode into something new. It's cultural energy embodied in a person. Yeah, Elvis was that powerful. Okay, next line. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. I'm getting a little long for my videos. I like little short bites. Elvis fusion and confusion. fusion. You know, if something is fused together, melded together, and confusion. So he fused black rhythm and blues, white country music, gospel, pop. He said he put all that together, and that's what rock and roll is. But it also created confusion. What? He's a white singer bringing black music into the mainstream? Society was still segregated at the time. Older generations didn't understand this. A lot of chaos and confusion. So the line is Elvis, fusion and confusion. I'll go ahead and do another one. Elvis, earth rod in a southern dorm. Earth rod is like a lightning rod that conducts the electricity. An earth rod, a lightning rod, a grounding rod, absorbs lightning and channels it into the earth. So Elvis was the grounding rod for the cultural electricity in the American South. And I'm going to even stretch it further than that, just in America, but it started in the South. All the musical energy, you got the blues, the gospel, the country, it all ran through him, which he said he just combined it, right? And that southern dorm is like, a dorm is a room, right? So the cradle of that southern atmosphere, that southern environment, young America waking up in a dorm room. You wake up, you know, it's your room. That's where you live and breathe and wake up and all that. In America, young America was waking up. So Elvis earth rod in a southern dorm. Oh, I have to do the next one. Elvis shaking up an electrical storm. See, that goes with the lightning rod. Elvis shaking up an electrical storm. He's not just grounding the electricity, he's creating this storm. Wow, to be alive back then. I wasn't born until 1960, and I was just a baby. I didn't know all this was going on, but wow, my parents did. They saw him in the early years. And to be part of that generation, I might have been that girl fainting in her chair. So he creates the storm. It's referring to the explosion of rock and roll in the 50s, the social panic that went with it, the screaming teenagers, the moral outrage, the cultural revolution. He wasn't just part of the storm, he intensified it. That is a good place to stop. Y'all stay tuned. I'll hit some more of this on the next video. Take care.